Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanishalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. In this session, we will be discussing from the 13th verse of the 18th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tulayama lavenapi na swargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kim utashishaha. This is a very famous verse in the Bhagavatam. It's quoted many times later on in the Bhagavatam itself and even quoted by Srila Prabhupada on many different instances. So the meaning of this verse is, the value of a moment's association with the devotee of the Lord cannot even be compared to the attainment of heavenly planets or liberation from matter, and what to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which are for those who are meant for death. This is a very important verse. It is helping us understand what is the value of associating with a pure devotee even for a very, very short time. Here the Sanskrit word is lava, lavena. Lavena means, lava is a measurement of a duration of time which is a fraction of a second. It's actually a moment, a very, 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 very small bit of time. Even that, if somebody is able to properly associate with a sadhu, a pure devotee, for even a short time, that is very, 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 very valuable. And how valuable? This verse, it is being spoken by the sages from Naimisharanya. They are telling, you cannot compare the immense benefit you get by moment's association with a pure devotee. You cannot compare that with the benefit of performing so many fruitive activities to elevate oneself to heavenly planets, or so many more fruitive activities to actually get different kinds of material riches, material benefits, or even some kind of fruitive activity for getting liberation from material bondage, impersonal liberation. None of these actually are worthwhile for a person who is about to die, who is subject to death in this material world. None of these are really beneficial. Why? Because Prabhupada explains in the purport. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, when there are some similar points, it is possible to compare one thing to another. One cannot compare the association of a pure devotee to anything material. Men who are addicted to material happiness aspire to reach the heavenly planets like the moon, Venus, and Indraloka. And those who are advanced in material philosophical speculations aspire after liberation from all material bondage. Broadly speaking, those who are non-devotees, their attempts at any so-called spiritual activity can be classified into three headings. Here two are mentioned. Two are mentioned here. One is all those kind of pious activities which help one to go to the heavenly planets, take birth in heavenly planets to enjoy heavenly pleasures. And the second group of activities are those by which one can get liberation from all material bondage. Here, liberation specifically refers to impersonal liberation, merging into Brahman. So, both of these are actually, both these kinds of results are considered material benefits, material result. And this cannot be compared to association with pure devotee, because the result of either of these is material happiness, and the result of association with pure devotee is transcendental pleasure. So Srila Prabhupada says, when one becomes frustrated with all kinds of material advancement, one desires the opposite type of liberation, which is called apunarbhava, or no rebirth. One category of people are trying to enjoy in this material world. But when they realize, actually we cannot enjoy in this material world, really real pleasure is not there, real happiness is not there, then they try opposite. What is that? They try to avoid taking birth again. And how do they avoid taking birth again? By merging into the existence of the Supreme Lord, called merging into Brahma Jyoti. But the pure devotees of the Lord do not aspire after the happiness obtained in heavenly kingdom, nor do they aspire after the liberation from material bondage. Pure devotees don't want this. Why? For the pure devotees of the Lord, the material pleasures obtainable in the heavenly planets are like Phantasmagoria. What is Phantasmagoria? It is something like some imaginary pleasure, some utopian ideal, like too much of promise. Oh, it's very nice. But when you actually experience that, you find what? There is not so much of happiness that I was thinking I will get. It is the same mundane pleasure available anywhere else, in any other material situation, any other material facility. The same type of flickering, momentary happiness. So, heavenly pleasures are also the same quality. And the devotees, they are already, by devotional service, pure devotional service, they are already liberated from all material conceptions of pleasure and distress. They are liberated even while they are living in the material world. The pure devotees, they are already liberated. So why will they seek liberation while they want liberation? They are already liberated. That means the pure devotees of the Lord are engaged in a transcendental existence, namely in the loving service of the Supreme Lord, both in the material world and in the spiritual world. This is a secret that many people do not know. A pure devotee's activities appears like ordinary activities of a materialistic person. But actually, a pure devotee's actions are all completely spiritual. And a pure devotee is only engaged in loving devotional service to Krishna, even while he is in the material world. So, Prabhupada compares this pure devotee's activity with an example. As a government servant is always the same, either in the office or at home or at any place, so a devotee has nothing to do with any material, anything material, for he is exclusively engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. Since he has nothing to do with anything material, what pleasure can he derive from material benedictions like kingship or other overlordships, which are finished quickly with the end of the body? Why will a pure devotee aspire for becoming a king, becoming a emperor, becoming a resident of heavenly planets, or becoming even the king of heaven? Because all these positions are finished with the body. When death comes, finished, over. The positions are all temporary. Devotional service is eternal. This is a very, very important point. Pure devotional service, of course, devotional service here means pure devotional service. It is eternal. That means there is no end. There is no stoppage. It has no end because it is spiritual. Anything spiritual has no end. Everything material has got an end. This Krishna discusses in Bhagavad Gita. Adi antavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. All material pleasures have a beginning and end. Spiritual happiness, no beginning, no end. No beginning, especially for those who are always engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord. They are always happy. And their happiness continues without any break. They are always jolly. They are always happy. Therefore, since the assets of a pure devotee are completely different from material assets, there is no comparison between the two. Suta Goswami was a pure devotee of the Lord. Suta Goswami is sitting and speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisharanya. He was a pure devotee of the Lord. And therefore his association with the rishis in Naimisharanya, the sages of Naimisharanya, is unique. So many, and the sages of Naimisharanya are very highly qualified Brahmanas. They know so much about different kinds of fruitive activities, different kinds of sacrifices, different kinds of study of the spiritual literature, Vedic literature. But none of them are useful for eternal life. They are useless. For eternal life, they are useless. Whereas Suta Goswami, he is not going to narrate or describe any of those type of descriptions, how to do some material fruitive activity, how to attain impersonal liberation, none of those things. He simply is reciting the Bhagavatam. In the material world, association with gross materialists is veritably condemned. So the materialist is called Yoshit Sangi, or one who is very much attached to material entanglement. Materialists are like that. They are always after material pleasures, and they become entangled. What is this material entanglement? Women and other paraphernalia. They are always looking for sense gratification, so they want sense objects. Here women means the object of enjoyment in terms of the opposite gender. For a man it is a woman, for a woman it is a man. Sex pleasure. And connected with sex pleasure, there are so many other pleasures. Pleasure of eating, pleasure of sleeping, pleasure of enjoying different kinds of sense objects, all those kind of things. Such attachment is conditioned because it drives away the benedictions of life and prosperity. One becomes entangled means one is subject to a repetition of birth and death. Because in one body, none of these types of enjoyments can all be experienced. So opposite of this Yoshit Sangha is Bhagavata Sangha. One who's always in the association of Lord's, Supreme Lord's name, form, qualities, activities, pure devotees, etc. Such association is always desirable. Bhagavata Sangha. It is worshipable, it is praiseworthy, and one may accept it as the highest goal of life. Simply get association of a pure devotee. And that's what exactly Prabhupada is doing by giving us this Bhagavatam, by speaking. And all those speeches are recorded and they are available now. Prabhupada's singing Kirtan, Prabhupada's speaking Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's explanations of the devotional literatures. Everything is available. Simply hear Prabhupada speaking. And that association can guarantee you eternal life. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.